Hey now, welcome to Fitz's Electric Bar. This is Show Me Your Tickets number 15. And this one is a week in Paris in 1981 when I had the good fortune to catch three different shows and three very different acts. And it was very memorable for me. A little bit of background. So I went backpacking in the spring of 1981. I left for Europe on my own, backpacking for about 4 months in April of 1981. And one of the things I was most excited about was to see some live music in the UK, in London in particular. So my first stop was New York City. And then I went on to London. And my plan was to go and see Dexy's Midnight Runners in Brighton. So it was going to kind of check off two boxes. One was to see a band that I really liked, Dexy's Midnight Runners in 1981. I was a big fan of the Young Soul Rebels, their first record before the whole Come On Eileen thing. I don't think they'd released that yet. But the other big one was being a huge Who fan. I wanted to go to Brighton. I wanted to see what it was like, walk the pebbled beach, sing Love Rain or Me, see if I could catch a train from London down to Brighton and as close to the 5:15 as possible. And look at the Grand Hotel and shout bellboy down in the hallway and imagine Sting there, Ace Face, working as a bellboy. So my infatuation with the Who's Quadrophenia kind of combining with a desire to go see a show in England, and that opportunity came with Dexy's Midnight Runners. So as I was making my way to London, I realized that the Dexy's Midnight Runners show had been canceled. So I still went there and did all the things I just described: the walk along the beach, the pier, the Love Rain or Me, the bellboy shout, but no concert. And Brighton, I was just staggered at how expensive it was staying in a hotel in Brighton. It was blowing my budget about three days. Like one day there was like about 3 day budget for me. So I had to get out of Brighton fast. So I went back to London and stayed in a hostel there. And I was just so disappointed because I had always drooled over the music magazines and the listings of the shows in London, and it seemed like nothing much was happening. So I saw Reckless Eric at Dingwalls. Dingwalls is a pretty cool club, known for, I think, a lot of the two-tone bands, like Madness, I think, was sort of their home base. And I know Dingwalls has a long history in Camden Town. And I've always liked Reckless Eric, and it was good, but it wasn't what I would call a, level one, tier one kind of show. After London, I went to Amsterdam, and I remember the Stray Cats playing there. I didn't see them. I don't remember why. It wasn't a top, one of my favorite bands, so I didn't go to that. But after about 2 or 3 weeks in Amsterdam, I got a little waylaid. I don't know why, but there was something about Amsterdam that I liked, and it had nothing to do with red lights. I made my way to Paris and took the magic bus from Amsterdam, again, spring of 81, to Paris. And when I arrived, I saw an ad somewhere saying that the Clash were playing that night, May 11th, in Paris. The Clash had not played in North America, I think, for a little while, and they released in December of 1980, 1 year after London Calling was released, they released this record, which, as a sidebar, I think for many of us Clash fans, this has actually become one of my go-to records of the Clash. I find I know London Calling so intimately that I just don't put it on very often. Sandinista, some of the stuff that was maybe outliers, I'm finding I'm enjoying a little bit more. And it's quite a record. If maybe stretched a little thin, it is a fantastic record. This is my original UK release. I don't know if this comes with this in the North American one, but great lyric sheet, sort of handwritten lyrics with, I think his name was Lowry, who used to do some of the cartoons for the NME, I believe. Anyways, even at the time, I really enjoyed this record. I think my appreciation's gone up over time. But arrived there and I went right to the Hippodrome where the Clash were playing. There was no ticket outlet there, but as I was sort of sitting by the Hippodrome trying to figure out where to get tickets, an American guy came and sat beside me, and we sort of struck up a conversation, and he was also interested in seeing the Clash. So he was living somewhere on, I think, Saint-Germain-des-Prés, And he knew his way around Paris. He'd been living there for a while. So he recommended that we go off and get tickets, I think, at the local Fnac. So we went off and we got ourselves our Clash tickets. And how about this? Just like the French francs and their notes, which are bigger than all other European currencies, this ticket was just a fantastic ticket. So this was my Clash ticket to see them on May the 11th at the Hippodrome in Paris. And truth be told, it was a good show. It wasn't a great show. It was kind of a weird venue. It was a very big, kind of almost arena style. So it was lacking a little bit of atmosphere. But, you know, after, again, coming out of a very dry spell in London, it was so great to see the Clash. 2 nights later, I learned that Gang of Four were playing a place called the Palais des Arts. And I was looking this up online. I can't see any record of this place, but it was near Les Halles, which I think was near the George Pompidou Center. But anyways, Gang of Four, it was a really nice venue, a bit like a church. I don't know if it was a repurposed church, but it was a smallish venue. And I still remember I was sitting up on the balcony looking down and seeing, was it Andy Gill, the guitarist, and just how riveting he was as a guitarist, the angular style of playing. I've kind of since learned that I think he was very influenced by Wilco Johnson of Dr. Feelgood. But just this really, as any of you are Gang of Four fans know, that really strong angular guitar playing that he has, and then the great rhythm section the Gang of Four had. And John King of vocals. Anyways, it was a really good show. It was kind of one of those, I mentioned a little bit like the Iggy Pop and David Bowie show I saw. It kind of had a dangerous element to it. I mean, they created an atmosphere of foreboding, and yeah, it was riveting. It was a really, really good show. So that was Gang of Four. 2 nights later, May 11th. Yeah, the Clash one was actually May 8th. The Gang of Four was May 11th. And then 2 nights later, got to see, so May 13th, 1981, got to see New Order. And now this was, I think, like their first iteration of New Order after Joy Division disbanded after Ian Curtis had passed away. Now, I had tickets to see Joy Division on that North American tour. I think Toronto was going to be the second or third stop after New York, maybe Philadelphia. And then shortly before the tour, of course, Ian Curtis committed suicide, and that tour was canceled. And then New Order formed shortly after that. So he passed away in May, I think it was May 18th, 1980. And this show, almost 1 year to the day afterwards, May 13th, I guess, 1981. And Jillian was on keyboards. There was a very strong keyboard element to it. I have to say, of these shows, this wasn't the strongest one. It was really cool to see them. But I couldn't help but compare New Order to what I had hoped I was going to see a year ago with Joy Division. It was atmospheric. It was kind of cool that way, but it didn't have the propulsive energy that Ian Curtis brought, or for that matter, New Order later in some of their releases like Power, Corruption, and Lies, and some of the stuff that is actually very propulsive musically. This was a little more somber, and maybe they were just trying to figure out kind of what path they wanted to take. But Procession, Dreams Never End, those kinds of songs that were singles or B-sides were dominant in the set list. I don't even think they did a Joy Division song. But those were the 3 shows, The Clash, Gang of Four, and New Order within 1 week in May of 1981. Very memorable shows for me. Show me your tickets. I keep hoping this is going to kind of catch on and people show tickets. And I know some people are showing their concert tickets, but I was spurred on to do this after Northern Revolutions and a couple people that he connects with talking about great shows that they've seen. And so I wanted to go back and post this. So I'm going to be doing a few more of these. Interest level be damned. Carpe diem. MFs.